Hi there, everyone. Welcome to episode 643 of the Mike from Maine show, the place where we do daily interviews with successful online entrepreneurs. This is your host, Mike Thomas, and today on the show, we have Dr. Ben Adkins on, and we're going to be talking about how he's been using the power of Reddit to drive tons of traffic to his offers and made a bunch of money in the process. Now, this isn't some theoretical thing we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about his results that he personally has had, along with the results of other people as well. Let's get into it. Here's Dr. Ben Adkins. We are here today with Dr. Ben Adkins. Ben, welcome back to the show.
Good to see you. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well, Ben. Ben is one of those people, and I'm not even sure that he knows it. He's one of the people that I highly respect in the internet marketing industry. He actually put out a course last summer that influenced my business. I actually went out and implemented it, got results myself, created a course myself, and used it as part of the course. So thank you, Ben, for helping me out with that. For those of you that don't know who he is, he's a chiropractor who got started online looking for ways of building his own business. He had success with it. He learned it. He applied it, and then he started teaching it, and people loved it. And you just keep on going. You've got all these different products helping other people out with their businesses, and you're doing well.
It's crazy. I feel like I'm the biggest nerd on the planet when it comes to this whole, I remember trying to get traffic into the office and things, and then moving into kind of the online space and just developing this love that I think is a little bit unhealthy. But, this love for all things that are online marketing, traffic, and conversions. And, what's cool is I get to take that love and that nerdiness that I have and the success that we have in our business and get to teach other people. And there's really just no better thing than that. So, yeah.
Today, the product that we brought Ben on to talk about is something that the reason why I brought him on is because when I heard that he was launching this, I had already seen what he was talking about. I had already been attracted into that marketing. I had already visited the page that he was talking about. I had interacted with it. I had actually upvoted it. So I clicked on it. I helped him with his promotion. Everything, all his evilness that he was working here was working, and it worked on me. So I thought to myself, if it's working on me, and I saw the results that he was getting from it, then there's no reason why other people can't do this as well. To start us off here, Ben, excuse me, I want to read off the headline here first. So
Sure.
It says, "Learn the closely guarded secrets of tapping into one of the world's biggest and most misunderstood traffic sources." So I'm seeing big traffic source, like I'm getting excited because everyone, when they hear about traffic source, closely guarded and tapping into it. Bring us in. What's this all about?
The thing about Reddit is it started off for me like I would get done with, whatever I was doing during the day, and I would lay down in bed at night and I'd have my phone out. And that's where it started for me. It was straight passion, and it became one of my favorite websites on the planet. But for a very long time, I was like, there's no marketing value for me here. There's no way to go in there and do this. So like with Reddit, it's basically, if you want to just think about it in the most simple terms, it's a very, very open and honest and self-governed social network. And, it's not a pretty social network. It's probably one of the ugliest social networks there is out there. You don't have pretty avatars with your face in them. It's just pretty much all these specific little areas, which are, we think about it, you can think of it like an old school forum, right? Mm-hmm. An old school forum. And instead of every time someone comments, something gets to the top, Reddit is self-governed because when you post something, people can either upvote you and say, this is great stuff that you posted here today. We want this to be, other people to see this, or they can downvote you. And that buries your post so no one can see it. And the caveat to that is all the while people get to go in there and they get to comment and, give their opinions on your things. So Reddit is, for me, the reason I was attracted to it as just a consumer was it's so honest. Mm-hmm. It's so open, and people are very much, they'll give you their opinion, and they actually seek your opinion back. And I think that's what I like a lot about Reddit is it's not just hey, we're going to stomp someone to the ground. It's always, hey, let me challenge you a little bit, or let me ask you this and get things back. So it's a very transparent community, which provides a lot of very interesting opportunities for people if they're willing to look into it. So at its core, Reddit is very much just we're all going into a big circle in the middle of the city and we're talking about a topic that we love. And then right over here, there's another topic that other people love. So a lot of very passionate people, very open about how they feel about things. The cool thing about Reddit is there's a heck of a lot of these people and they are just nuts about whatever little subsection of Reddit they're in.
And the fact that you have all these little subsections, it makes it so that I think as a marketer, and that's how we're approaching this. As a marketer, we're thinking, okay, where's our market? Where's our niche? I don't want to be marketing my internet marketing products, or maybe if we're going to talk about other niches, maybe I'm a dentist and I don't want to be marketing my dentist products to internet marketers. I don't want to be marketing my internet marketing products to dentists. You want to market to the people that are going to have the most likelihood of buying what you're selling. But of course, if you go out there and I just post a link to my latest and greatest product on there and I say, hey guys, come buy this, it's awesome, that's not going to work, is it?
Now, this is where the opportunity actually lies. And this is what's interesting is Reddit, and I hate to say this, but Reddit hates marketers. They hate us. And they hate people that come on there and post links, and the links are only being posted there, or the comments are only being made to drive people back to their site for their own well-being. And while initially that's scary to people, that's, as a marketer, you're like, well, crap, what's going to happen here? Initially that's scary. What you start realizing is there's this insane opportunity, because if you do it correctly, if you go into Reddit and you handle Reddit correctly, there's not that much competition. You can go into a little subsection of Reddit and they just love your stuff. We have a whiskey product that we have called Whiskey Baller. And, we can go into Reddit, into these little whiskey subsections. And as long as we don't blatantly promote our stuff, it's amazing how much traffic we can actually pull back to our site. And there's not really that much to compete with, because people, they've seen Reddit, they've seen what Reddit can do, and they get a little bit uptight about actually going into Reddit and, promoting their product. But if you kind of go in this very transparent and light way, which we talk about inside of this course that we're putting together, if you do it that way, it's yours. And there's not that much else to compete with you. And that's, I think, was the really powerful thing, is right now, it's pretty much wide open, because this is a code that a lot of people just have not been able to break. So,
I feel like it's like content marketing. If you go in there and you provide something that is of value, let's say, and it brings back traditional things like guest posting, going out on someone else's blog. If someone was to approach me, Ben, and say, hey, Mike, I want to just put a link to my squeeze page on your site, and will you give me that? I'll be like, no. What's in it for me? And Reddit users are the same way. They're saying, what's in it for me? What are you going to give as value first here? What's going to make it so that it's worth it for me to interact with this? If you go out there, and I'm thinking of your Whiskey Baller product there, and I'm trying to, I haven't seen what you've done with it, but if I was to guess what you've done, the kind of post, and correct me here, please, and tell me what you've done. If I was to guess, I would say you've gone out there and maybe you wrote a post about the correct way to pour a whiskey, or maybe the best types of whiskey, ones that you should drink with ice and ones that you shouldn't, and what mixers you should use and what mixers you shouldn't, all that kind of stuff. And hey guys, we also have, this is a great product that goes along with it. Like, how are you able to integrate it without it being like spammy as well?
It's crazy. And with Reddit, I always think about Reddit as taking your friends out to dinner. Like going out to dinner with your friends that are, you all happen to be interested in this thing, right? So you're out to dinner and you would never, like if your friend said, well, how's work? What are you doing? You would never say, well, actually go opt in here. And it's just not going to happen. You're going to tell a story that like walks them through the step by step. So with like something like Whiskey Baller, what we'll do is to start off, I'm not actually going to be posting any links. That's one of my secrets. There's no real links in my initial post. A lot of my initial stuff on Reddit, under the Whiskey Baller moniker that we've got, is to go in and answer questions, or to ask questions of other posts. So that's kind of what we do to start. We kind of start getting a base and letting the community know that, hey, we're here to actually participate. So that's kind of one of the inside tracks is we're here to be a part of this community. And what's funny is like, what does that take me? 5 minutes a day to let someone know that, oh, I'm interested, I'm making comments and I'm adding things. And then we'll start going in and we'll say, did you know that this is the history of how the prohibition and whiskey related? So we'll tell this great story, which you can go find on Wikipedia, and like you can just weave this great story together. So we'll go make a post like that. And of course, once you get to the end of that post, you'll see, okay, well, who's this by? And then this is what's so interesting about Redditors. They're not just looking for the content. Once they find the content, something very interesting happens. They're like, well, that looks pretty good. Let me see who the heck wrote this. So they'll start kind of digging into you. And once they start digging into you, that alone will get you site traffic. I mean, that alone, because they will actually go find, that's how passionate they are. They want to know who they're dealing with. But after that, once you start kind of laying that groundwork, you start being able to inject these little, hey, what's the deal with these ice molds? And then this is, like I said, so silly how we do this, but I'll say, full disclaimer, before I actually go through this, I actually run an ice mold company called Whiskey Baller. So just put it out there. Here it is.
So you won't have people going out there and saying, well, this guy's just trying to sell something. He's sneaky. Like, you can say, look, guys, this is me. This is what I have, but let me tell you this story.
Yeah. And let me tell you why these are so, there's this company over here that does this. This is why I like these. And this is why this is cool. This is why this. I don't even ever have to mention my company in that conversation other than the fact that, full disclaimer, I'm from whiskeyballer.com. I own this company. And the reason I'm such a freaking nerd about this topic is this. Okay. And as long as you're transparent, that's where you get into the really good stuff. And as we're kind of diving into what we teach, that's what we're really getting into. And like you said, it's not so much about spamming your links out there. It's 100% content marketing, which you and me both know that's where it's going. That's where everything is going. So that's a big part of what we teach is how to do that the right way and how not to come off as someone who's only self-serving.
You've gone out there on Reddit. You've told some fun stories about prohibition. Maybe you the one that I came across, you were talking about script writing and sales copy writing. It's great, Ben. Congratulations that you're putting content out there and that people are engaging with it and people are upvoting it. Like, that's great for your ego, and that's nice. But when it comes down to it, I want to know how much money this is making for you. I want to know the results that it's bringing in.
Sure. It's interesting because you've got several different ways that we're doing it. So a lot of times we'll link directly to a buy page. Like, it's just, oh, this is what we do. And we give all of our content right there, right? So all of our content's right there. And if they want to go back and buy, they buy. And we're driving buyers straight from those posts. So we did something for our product Script Doll where I actually walk people through step by step how we launched Script Doll, what happened at every step of the way. And you saw we got a lot of really good questions. We had some people sort of challenging us, and then we answered it very honestly, and it turned out very good. It got upvoted. It was very high on the list. And we had people that were going from there, going to our website. We saw this huge spike in traffic, and then we converted some of those people into buyers. What's cool is over the next few months, we'll also convert more people that saw that post into buyers. It was this very subtle way of getting on the radar of people that we normally don't have access to. So instantly converted into buyers of a product that we had, instantly, gets us recognition. But at the same time, people learned a lot from that post. So our trust goes up pretty quickly. The other really cool thing is when you have like a blog post. We have a blog, we put things out there, and a lot of times we'll just go in and say, hey, this is something that we shared, and people will go to the blog. And this is what's so fun. They'll go to the blog, they'll be reading something, and all of a sudden you'll see this huge spike in opt-ins, from your blog. You're like, what did that? Reddit, and this is Reddit users. And those opt-ins, of course, start going through our sales path, and then we're able to, So it's great because as long as we're providing content, we are seeing money come through the door and opt-ins come through the door, which turn into money down the road.
And you don't even need to get anyone's permission to do this.
No.
You go out there and you're posting your content out there in a place where there's people looking for it, where there's traffic. If you put out good stuff, then you're going to be rewarded with traffic coming in for you. Now, you might take that same content, Ben, and you might put it on your blog. Let's say you've got a blog, and it might be the best freaking content that you've ever written. You are giving away information that people are selling in $2,000 courses online. Well, if you don't have anyone seeing it, if you don't have any traffic coming in, it really doesn't matter what you put out there.
And that's, I think, what's so great is like, we go set up a Facebook ad that maybe goes to our blog. We're paying something, and like maybe over a couple days we'll start seeing results, whatever. We can just go write the blog and hope. And it maybe sits out there, and maybe after a year it starts getting what we need to. We can, spread it out on Twitter. We can do all kinds of things. The thing that I love about Reddit is I will write something. I will post it on Reddit, and immediately I can watch the stats. You can get into your Google Analytics, your real time, and your things like that. And immediately you see this huge spike go up. And it's like you said, there's no permission that needs to be asked. You go add a little value to the Reddit community, in that subsection. And within minutes, you start getting people to your site and you start seeing results. And it's, like I said, it's the ultimate does this work test, because you have real people. This is not, okay, I went and bought some traffic and maybe they'll be into it. It's real people who are just saying this content is good or this content is not. They're coming in, and you get to actually see what happens when a mass number of folks hit your site all at once, all that are interested in a certain topic. So I think you're right. That's what I love. There's no asking permission. It's, I got this thing, I'm gonna put it out there in front of these people, and within, an hour of you starting this process, you are seeing actual things happen, which to me, there just aren't that many things out there that are like that, which is why I get excited.
You've had good results with it. Tell me about some other results other people have had.
One of the big things that really got me when I first started, really thinking about this Reddit marketing stuff was we had a few people that were posting in one of my favorite Reddit sections. They call them subreddits. It was the entrepreneur section, which is, me and you. That's our thing, right? So I started reading through this area, and I started noticing that these brands, they were doing e-commerce like what I was doing with my whiskey baller product, right? They were doing e-commerce, and one in particular that is just, I'm a big fan because they share so much. It's called Beard Brand. And they went in and they were talking about how, hey, this is how we started. This is our step-by-step, everything. This is how we branded. This is how we put our box together. I mean, really transparent with their whole process. And, over the last year, they went from 0 in sales and very, very heavy Reddit presence. If you actually were to click on this particular user's username, you can see their posting history, how they're contributing, how they're going in and answering questions that are related to what they're doing. Very, very good for the Reddit community, but also sends a lot of traffic back to the Beard Brand website. So what's interesting is they took their business from 0 to $120,000 in sales a month within about a year. And a big lot of that traffic comes from Reddit. And that's just one example. I mean, I think a little while back, we all heard about the ship your enemies glitter.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah. It was a big story in the news. What a lot of people don't know is, they started hearing about it on when the news picked it up. But what really started that firestorm was a post on Reddit. And I mean, literally one or two posts is what it took, and then it just took off. And I think what's so interesting about Reddit, and this is where the real opportunity, and this is where people that are watching this right now are going to look back on us talking about this and be like, I didn't know that, but then I figured it out, I did it, and now I'm being talked about by major news outlets. Reddit is so large, and Reddit is so loved by people that are in the news, because this is the other secret about Reddit, and I do this too. I go to Reddit for content and content ideas. So a lot of people in big news, real journalists will go to Reddit to see, okay, what's going on, what's trending, what's hot, and they will find things and take it to the news. So with this Ship Your Enemies Glitter story, it started off as just a post that took off in a big way, and then the news picked it up, and then everybody else in the world picked it up, and literally over the span of 3-4 days, this business went from 0 to, I believe it was around $100,000 right there in sales, just starting off from a simple Reddit post that people grabbed onto.
Now, you've had a lot of success online. You can go onto Reddit and you can talk about how you built these businesses. Or this glitter one here, I mean, that was a special example of a company that, I mean, right. it was a little bit unique there. Now, for normal everyday people that are watching this right now, and they're
Sure.
going, well, I can't go in there and I can't talk about it. I haven't done that, or I don't have a glitter company. What would you tell them to do? You mentioned going to talking about the prohibition before. I mean, what can they do to start using Reddit to get traffic and to start making money today?
I think number one is it depends on what you sell.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, just to give you kind of a nice outline based on what you sell, you have to say, okay, this is the thing I'm focused on. So this is like my flagship product. This is my thing. This is what I want everybody to eventually end on and go buy. So whatever that is for you, that's your number one starting point with Reddit. And then what we do is we go over to Reddit and we start really figuring out where are the places that I need to be spending my time? Where are the places that I need to get in there and get in the mix? And we go through this very heavily inside of what we're doing with the evil Reddit magician. But you go and you figure out what are we doing inside of here, and once you figure that out, then you should start getting in the mix and you start having conversations. And to me, that's the easiest marketing in the world, especially when I don't have to go out anywhere. I'm just sitting in a computer. You go start having conversations and you get in the mix in Reddit. And a lot of times it's not about, hey, I've got all these results. And I think that's what people get scared about. They're like, oh, I don't have all these results yet. I'm not that in depth with things. I don't have that much experience. This is my start. But you can start moving in and talking to people that do have results, and you can start adding to the conversation or asking very good questions. You really don't even have to add a lot of times. Sometimes it's just, man, I wonder why they didn't mention this, and ask good questions. Once you start getting a sense of what's going on there, then you start, I go back to Jurassic Park where the Raptors were testing the fence, because they were going to find the weakness. And this is exactly what you're doing. You're starting to see exactly how these things work. And what will happen to you very quickly, and someone brand new is thinking, whatever, man, you've been doing this a while. But no, what happens very quickly is when you're in there, you start finding the weaknesses in the fence. And then you can start really talking about, what you're doing in a very transparent way. Because at that point, you have some history. You've been working in Reddit. You've been contributing. You've been doing things. And you can talk about other people and what they're doing. So I have seen posts on Reddit where people say, I really love this case study, and what I love about it is this. And they'll start deconstructing 3 or 4 case studies and bringing it in together. And then they have a piece of content that was just from them browsing Reddit and bringing together pieces of content. And people love that because it's a new perspective on something that's going on. So I guess my answer is you don't have to have your own story yet. You don't have to have all the success. A lot of it is just going in, figuring out what's going on, and giving people a new perspective, and people will absolutely raise you up for that. And then, as I said, you can always give the nice, oh, by the way, just throwing this out here, this is why I'm such a nerd for this. Here's my thing. That out of the way, let me get into what I'm going to talk about. So
I think one of the hidden benefits, and maybe it's not so hidden, but one thing that really sticks out to me is if you are creating a product or you provide a service or whatever business you're doing, and you start sharing it, you start writing about it, and you start providing value and getting other people to look at what you're doing, you're going to get feedback, and you're going to find out very, very quickly what you're doing wrong, what you're missing, what people really want. I'm sure, Ben, with products that you've put out, you've had an idea for something, and you're like, this is what people want. This is what they want. This is what I want. I'm going to create this. You put it out there, and people are like, well, Ben, this is good. Like, I want this, but what about this? And what about this?
Right.
And you're missing this, and this sucks, but this is good. Like, if you take that criticism and you're able to listen to it, then you can take whatever it is you're doing and make it better and use that as valuable feedback.
Right. Well, that's the thing. I've used Reddit in particular for number one, idea generation. There's so much good content, and this is where a lot of original thought originates. The stuff you see on Facebook 8 days later started with Reddit. The stuff you see on the news a lot of times, you'd be blown away if you've never been on Reddit before. You'd be blown away by how much stuff I've seen as big news stories that started off as a Reddit post, and you're going to start seeing more Reddit being quoted in the news, especially around now. But that's the thing. What's interesting is you get in there and you start getting in the mix, you start providing, you start really developing this nice armor and around your product. And I think that might scare some people too, because they're like, well, are people going to, hit my stuff and, be critical of my stuff? Well, yeah, they will a little bit, but that's a really good thing. Yeah. There's nothing like having a group of people that are passionate about something telling you what they want. And I think that's what a lot of folks miss in this online marketing and this online sales thing is if you can get a sense of what people want, you immediately have an advantage over everyone else out there. And I think that's the cool thing about Reddit. Not only can you get a lot of traffic to your site, but you also get a ton of feedback. And that's how I always approach Reddit. It's not, look at me, big badass businessman who's been online for a long time. It's, hey guys, we're doing this. We've done the best we could do so far. What do you think? What can we do better? And that sort of attitude on Reddit has been insane for us because it's hard for someone to come in and say, you're asking for help and then start beating the crap out of you. It's just, the Reddit community will take care of them if they're doing that. And that's what's nice is Reddit is very much a good source of, hey, why don't you do this? And then you get to make some very interesting decisions about your product. And I tell you, there's so many things that we have done that have gotten a little bit better. They started out good, but they really got an armor on them after they went through that process.
I feel like if you approach it, like you said, being modest and just being super humble and saying, okay, we've done this, but help us out with this, give us some advice here, and you're asking for that feedback. You're asking for people to interact. You're getting them involved. You're getting them commenting. They're going to be much more likely to. Everyone wants to pitch in. Everyone wants to have their voice with these different things. But if you come in there and you're like, I'm freaking awesome. I've got this awesome product. Check out what I did anywhere in life. I mean, you talk about in the beginning, you talked about your being at dinner and like having someone opt in to find out more about you. Like in life, you don't go out there and sit at the table and talk about how great you are. You say, okay, well, I've done this. Like, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? People are going to love you much more here. Ben, inside of this product here, we've talked about like someone watching can go, well, hey, great guys, I'm off to go post on Reddit. I'm gonna screw you guys. I'm out of here. What's gonna be inside this product? Why is this something that they should be interested in?
When I first got started on Reddit, and I think a lot of people that have tried to tackle Reddit before, and maybe they left because they didn't do this correctly. When I first got started on Reddit, I screwed up a lot because I just saw the traffic and I didn't see the people. And I'll be the first to admit that when I first got onto Reddit, I did that. And what happened was I got stomped into the ground pretty good. And, I think it was a good thing for me, but a lot of people don't want to necessarily go through that process. So what we've put together with the Evil Reddit Magician is a step-by-step guide as to how to get all the benefits of Reddit without just getting the crap kicked out of you like I did and so many other marketers did. How to actually go into this community and do things the correct way. And for me, there was a learning curve. I had to go do it the hard way. And with everything that we always do, it's like, how can we remove some of that learning curve for other folks? So we basically put this course together. And this course is actually going to be live. And there's a reason I did this. I wanted to do this course live for the first time. I mean, we'll have it in there. If you missed the live call, we'll have replays. But the reason I want to do this is because with Reddit in particular, I know what I want to teach, but I know there's going to be a lot of folks that have questions or can I go do this? Can I do this? And we want to be able to answer a lot of these questions before people go into Reddit and do anything incorrectly. So we're doing a live session where we're going to teach this stuff. And I think the most important part of the live session is actually, as we go through each of these 5 sections that we're about to talk about, answering questions so that people don't mess anything up when they go through it. So the 5 sections, number 1, I think is the most important, is really giving an in-depth to what Reddit is. The history of it, how the user base is a little bit unique to anything else you're going to find out on the internet, and really preparing you to watch out for certain things and how to get around those things so that you only have the success and you don't have to go through the mess too. After that, case studies. To me, it's not just about the things that people are doing good. We have a ton of really good case studies that are going to be inside of this. We're going to show this company did this and this was amazing. This company did this and this was amazing. We're going to go through that, but we're also going to show a couple companies that didn't do it so well so that you can avoid those things. And they kind of, when you actually see these case studies, you're like, well, I know now why they didn't do it well compared to the good ones. But I think that's important. For me, I love case studies.
Like Ben, I'm almost as interested in seeing the crappy ones as I am in the successful ones.
No, it's very interesting. And the ones that we have planned to show, initially you can see why they made these mistakes. But as you start comparing them with the actually really good case studies, then you're like, oh, I absolutely see how I need to go through this process. So part two, we wanted to lead out with case studies. So what it is in part one, part two, case studies of really good ones and then not so good ones. And then after that, we get into some really cool stuff. We start getting into where are you going to live on Reddit and how do you find these things? So we've got some very cool ways that we go in and we find our ideal, what they call subreddits. The ones that are going to be perfectly matched for the product that you're selling so that you don't waste your time on any of the other places on Reddit. For example, I'm not going to go in with an internet, marketing product or a software to the League of Legends subreddit, which is a video game subreddit. They're not going to be real interested in what I have to say, and they're a ton of traffic, but a complete waste of my time and theirs. So we're going to talk about the ways that we actually deconstruct that and how to start listing these things out and the things that you need to pay attention to once you do find them, because this is what messes most people up. Each subreddit has its own little idiosyncrasies that you have to make sure that you get down. And once you get that, you're in.
Sure.
We're going to go through that process in part three. So part four, you said it, man. It's the content marketing blueprint. We're content marketing. We're really giving value. So wouldn't it be nice if you had kind of a checklist of things that you need to include in your content before you go into Reddit? So that's what we're going to make sure we do. Not only are we kind of getting into how you comment on Reddit and the things you need to include there, but we're also going to get into when you write a post and you're posting in a subreddit, these are the things that you need to make sure that you do. And this is the way that you need to make sure you do it. So give it a map. And I think that's what I like. I like having these one-page checklists where I can look back and say, yep, done, perfect. This is good. This gets posted in. So that's that. After that, if you've ever done a launch before, you know that when you first put a product out there, sometimes you have to handle certain things. With Reddit, it's pretty much a launch every time you post something up because you have to watch it, you have to pay attention to it, and that can be a giant headache if you don't know really the process of doing it. So I've got a couple of things that I do every time I put a post up. I want to be on top of it. I want to answer questions right away so nothing runs away, because I know the better I do at that, the more traffic comes to my site. So we're giving basically, once again, another one-page checklist that I'm going to go over step by step with everybody of when you post something up in Reddit and you're ready for that organic traffic to start coming in and you want to really maximize it, these are the things that you have to do. And this is what happens if maybe things don't go your way right away with that post. These are the things that you need to do. So those are the 5 main sections. And the reason we picked those 5 is those are the hills that I had to climb to get really good at this. And it took me, a year to 2 years to get really good at climbing those hills. I would love for people to be able to, knock this out and be able to get all the benefit in, 2 days instead of 2 years. So that's what we've got there.
It just sounds to me like it's an opportunity. If you're willing to put in that little bit of extra time that other people aren't willing to do, if you're willing to just take that extra effort, you'll be rewarded for it. They just don't want people. It's like anywhere. It's like a forum. You talk about this kind of being like a forum. It is like people come into a forum. They say like, "Good job, nice post," or whatever. No one,
Right.
no one's, and they've got their signature right under there, and they just want people to click on their link. Like that's not gonna cut it. With this, if you can just take that extra effort, then you can be rewarded handsomely for your effort there. I know you've got some bonuses here
Sure.
as well.
Over the 2 years of getting my butt handed to me and really learning this process, you pick up some things that sort of give you an unfair advantage that maybe aren't the things that you would normally go out and talk about in public with this sort of thing. So, there's some things that we can talk about on this call, and very much I feel like we've provided a ton of value as to how you could just go do this right away. But this is the stuff that, as I was going along, I'm like, this is a little evil, just a little evil, not nothing too over the top evil, but some of the stuff that I started to see, as I'm marketing on Reddit, I can do these things, and it absolutely gives my post an advantage over other posts in a very subtle way where people would not realize what's going on, but it's a nice trick to get it up there, and it's a nice trick to make sure that you don't get eaten alive. So we put in some things that to go with kind of your basic, this is what you do and this is how you do it. These are kind of the things that are going to give you that extra boost and that extra advantage. And like I said, some of this stuff, it's not for the faint of heart, but Nothing too over the top, I promise. But absolutely, you do these very simple things we're going to be talking about in bonus number one. And you have, I know you at least double your traffic. At the very least, you double your traffic, but also your post gets to sit in a place where it's seen in a very positive light because of how we're taking advantage of how Reddit works. So that's bonus number one.
I like evil stuff, Ben. Evil stuff is great. Like, and I know, like, for everyone watching who knows Ben, it's not evil. It's not like we're killing baby rabbits here. But it's you're using some extra stuff that you've learned by going through the trenches here. Okay, number two.
Well, my thing is, why not give people the advantages I have? You know, that's the key. Why hold anything back? Because I hate that. I hate when people hold stuff back. So if we know this stuff, why don't we teach it? Number two is there's a couple tools we use. And these tools are, you know, something that if you get real serious about this, and if you get serious about this, literally all your traffic could come from Reddit. That's how powerful and how much traffic's actually there. But as we're using Reddit, I'm not the kind of guy anymore that wants to sit in front of a computer all day. Just don't want to do it. You know, I don't want to do it. But at the same time, I realize how powerful Reddit is, and to know when something gets mentioned on Reddit, to know when certain things get mentioned, if you can get in there and be the first comment, if you can get in there and say certain things, you know, at the right time and be there, I know how important that is. So there's a few tools that we use out there that are either free or pretty low cost that will give you an advantage because of, hey, when this word shows up or this shows up, you can go in there and you can kind of interject yourself into the conversation. You're in, you're out, and you get the effectiveness because you're getting traffic. So we've got a couple tools we're going to be talking about that are out there, and you know they're out there on the web right now. They're sitting there. Not a lot of people know about them, but we've discovered them over the years, and we're going to put them in front of folks too. So yeah.
Tell me about the upsell. So if people purchase this, they've got everything that they need to be able to do this. But there are some other offers that you're going to have there.
Sure. And I love being able to give this out and, you know, tell everybody exactly what's through the entire thing. We had one thing. To me, you know, we could have built this just crazy funnel and had all these crazy things, but I hate that. Like, to me, it's what makes sense here that did not make sense in the main course. And in the main course, it's all about organic. It's how do you go and you dominate Reddit with organic conversation, organic post, organic comments. And I mean, literally, that is an entire course in itself, and you don't need to complicate that. But the next question that someone is going to have for me once they get in this, and I guarantee you spend a couple minutes on Reddit, you'll start noticing these things at the top of the page. Be like, is that an ad? Is that an ad at the top of the page? You can advertise on Reddit and you can target? Yeah, well, with Reddit, we've got ads. And there are companies that have absolutely exploded their revenue because they did ads on Reddit. And they did ads the right way. And a Reddit ad is like no other ad on the planet. I have never seen anything else on the planet that works like a Reddit ad. So with this particular upsell that we put in here, if you want to tackle Reddit ads and you want to do it the right way, we're going to be teaching also a step-by-step guide as to how you can go through. You can learn exactly what's going on with Reddit ads, how to set it up, how to, you know, really deconstruct how these things work. We'll have case studies for Reddit ads too, because I think, once again, that's an important part of seeing what other people are doing, but really how to build these things out. And what's going to really kill people about this Reddit ad thing, and this is what blows me away, is how stinking cheap Reddit ads are. I mean, it's, you know, we all think Facebook ads. Facebook ads are cheap. Your minimum that you have to spend is $5, right?
Okay.
So $5, and you know it's by 1,000 impressions. So you're not really paying for clicks even. You're paying for impressions. But you can spend a very small amount of money. And like I said, $5 is the minimum. It gets you, on a lot of Reddits, it'll get you 1,000 impressions or more. And you can go in and very targeted. You know, it doesn't have to be a big subreddit. You can target by subreddit. You can even do some location targeting. And you can nail down getting something in front of people. And if you understand how that ad works, it turns into something that can have a life of its own for a very long amount of time. So
I feel like if you try to be overly promotion, like the way that Reddit is, Ben, if you try to go out there, and I've seen these ads, and they're interactive, right? They're just like Reddit posts. So if you put it out there, it kind of feels like on Facebook, a promoted post on Facebook. Right. Am I in the right direction there? I've never done Reddit ads.
Absolutely. Well, so with Facebook, here's the thing with Facebook, you go in, and so I do a promoted post, and if I'm too overly promotional, someone can comment on it and I don't like it, I delete it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can delete their comment. Not so much on Reddit. If I run an ad on Reddit and I get some things that people are saying and I don't directly answer them, then I'm in trouble. My ad, I'm going to be in trouble. It's so interactive and you can't get rid of comments. But the thing is if you know how to run these ads and you know how to respond to what people are hitting you up with when they see the ad, you are going to have something that's crazy, because this is what's crazy about Reddit, folks. If they like what's in the ad, they'll go start telling other people about it. I've seen ads that show up that people go to other Reddits and share the ad. They'll go share the content. They'll talk about the site. And that's what's so cool. If you do it correctly, an ad turns into something unlike anything you've ever seen before, and that's, once again, the power of Reddit. So in this upsell, we start going through what I consider, to be 100% honest, probably the most unique ad set you can buy on the planet, in that it's not easy to run a successful ad. But in this guide, we show you how to do it the right way. We show you how other people have done it the right way, so you can just go copy what they're doing. And we give you a nice walkthrough as to how you can do it without spending a whole lot of cash. Because I know when I first started, even now, I'm not looking to spend a whole lot of money. I'm looking to get the biggest bang for my buck right out of the gate. So, yeah.
Ben, thank you so much for coming on the show today, talking about your evil organic traffic tricks with Reddit, and also paid traffic if people want to take it to that next level. Is there anything else, anything we missed, any tips, tricks, anything you want to mention before we wrap it up?
I think one of the most powerful things for me with this particular thing, and why we put this out, because this is one of those that you're like, should I set on this a while because we're getting results, or should I teach people about it? Is when you go through this and you start learning about this, it really makes you a long time, and I think you're probably the same way, and everybody watching this the same way. You feel one-dimensional. You feel like, okay, I know about Facebook ads, but if Facebook ads go away, I'm screwed. Or I've got a mailing list, but if my mailing list got taken away, I'm screwed. And I remember when I first started getting into Reddit, I'm like, this 100% could power my business by itself. I couple that with all these other cool things that I've heard about and I know, and this is not that hard to learn. Once you get the ins and outs of it, you're good. And to just show you on a traffic plot how this works, I typically, when I have something posted to Facebook and I'm paying for it, versus when I post something on Reddit, I usually get about the same amount of traffic right out of the gate, but I'm not paying for the Reddit stuff. So this takes you out of being one-dimensional and kind of where you're so utterly dependent on one thing, to really giving you a nice base of, hey, if this doesn't work today, I'm going to go do this, or I'm going to do both of them and get double. And I think that's what's so nice about what we try to do as online marketers, as we try to give ourselves several different skill sets that are not that hard to learn, that we can go get results from all of them. And I think that's the power behind Reddit, is if you've not done it before, this is a whole new ball game for your business. So yeah.
I'm excited to try it out myself. Ben, again, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you.
And best of luck with your launch.
Thanks. Appreciate it, man.
I hope you enjoyed the interview today with Ben. If you are interested in picking up The Evil Reddit Magician, you're going to want to come back tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. You're going to be able to grab it at its lowest price, along with my special bonuses. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all tomorrow.